recording. Okay, cool. Right, you all ready?
Ready.
All right. So we are back at creating that new form now, right? So again, now form 4. Have you went through all the slabs, the forms? And you, Mason, you're nodding your head. You said no. That doesn't make sense. You went through strong params, so you didn't do.
No, I haven't. I'm just trying to bring.
Okay. All right. Not to doubt you, but. That was Mason. Okay. Form 4. So form 4 is another helper form. Helper form. Yes, it's a helper form method that we have through Rails, right? And you'll see this in the documentations as well. So let's just take a look at the documentations. Do I have it open, hopefully? I do not, because I don't want to use it later. Okay, cool. Well, form 4, I'll just immediately tell you what like we're doing here. So this, again, form 4, if we know this object instance, specific instance user, right? Because it's coming from this right here, right? It's an instance object. So that's what it's referring to, form 4. And then what we do here is,
So we have to put a do between.
yes. Oh wait, do
Pair
we?
programming.
Yes, we do. Yeah. Pair programming, thank you. Okay. So this is like the normal way to do the forms now. And remember, this is like creating that form tag in your HTML, but it's just a Rails way.
We shouldn't use form tag anymore. We should use more form.
Yeah, I'm not gonna demonstrate form tag here, and I'll show you why later.
These all fall under URL helpers.
Yes. Well, when we say URL helpers, I would say yes and no, because we are utilizing the URL helpers in this form, but this form 4 is a different like method, just purely to create forms. But then we're going to be using those URL helpers to track down what that URL is for us. Okay? And you'll see what I mean by that. So now, to create this form, what we do, I always write this down because I always forget the syntax and everything. So there's an f.label, and notice that f is coming from the iteration here, f, right? And we're gonna name it name. I'm also going to do f.text field now. And these text field and labels are all built in, okay? And now what we do here is I pass in.
Could you also do f label and just call the attribute?
Like this?
Symbol name, yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. And I'll show you that in another example for our candies. That's a very good question. All right, so now.
Do you have like a hanging, like just like a hanging quotation?
Oh,
like text
yeah.
On
So
line
on
3?
line 3, there's an extra quote, I think.
Oh, good call. Thank you. Pair programming in Power. All right, so now I'm just going to, remember by default, remember in Sinatra, I was showing you like I just immediately do submit. This is how you do the submit. Okay?
So easy.
So easy.
Very easy form tag.
But don't get used to it, and again, you have to know about the HTMLs because you're going to be seeing this on the browser. I'm going to show you, I'm going to compare it and show you how this is being printed out, okay? So far, we have all this. Okay, let's see what we have so far then, right? I think I have everything. So now I'm finally going to run. I could do that or this, right? I'm going to run the server. Okay, notice it's running on localhost 3000. So hey, the Rails app. And then what's our path for all the users? Why is it taking so slow? There we go. Wild. If I click on that,
Whoa!
crazy.
This app is so cool.
And then a new, right? Thank you. Hey, right there, name. And then I can also create grant.
Grant.
Hey, redirects us to that grant. Cool. And then let's also see.
Is that because we redirected it to the user?
Yes. So see how we're doing this so fast now?
Yeah.
Is there a way that should show the ID of user ID of tool?
Oh, you mean on the URL?
If I see the tool, I can just browse anybody by using the ID. I can just put in 1, 3.
Yep.
I can see anyone's record.
Yeah.
If they exist.
If they exist, yes. If
Why
I do
don't
one.
we do 10? Since I don't think we got a 10. We just want to see. Couldn't find out.
Record on the phone.
Yeah.
So it's pretty obvious
Yeah.
why. Which failed.
So May, what was your
So is there any better way to
hide this?
hide?
For the sake of like the curriculum now, like we're not gonna go into that right now. But yes, there's always a better way. And like you'll be like, there's always a way to like hash this up and like change it around or even like just give a alias to it, right? There's always a way. Like those questions are valid. And it's super important because now you are able to ask those questions and look it up, right? That's the skill set that you're going to get. But for the sake of the scope, we're not going to be dealing with that right now. Is that okay? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
In reality, why, like, the all users page, like, what would that, like, why would we ever have that?
Are you criticizing my app?
No.
No, I'm just kidding. No, you're right. Yeah. I mean, maybe as an admin later on.
Okay.
Like an admin would need a dashboard to get access to all the users, right?
Yeah.
But normal
Users
customers,
wouldn't
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
have
yeah.
that.
This
Or
wouldn't
what if
happen.
they want to find another user? Let's say everyone wants to find Grant.
Yeah, if it's a social media app and maybe I'm like friends with all of these people, like all of you, but except Adrian, then like there will be a page where I will see all my friends except Adrian.
We can write the logic for that. Just kidding.
Yeah, except Adrian. All right, but here's what I wanted to show you. So remember that new form? I'm going to open this up here, Chrome browser. And you're going to be learning about this more, like dealing with the Chrome browser later in Mod 3. But just to show you, like what we're seeing. See that? It created all that for us. And see the authenticity token?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's doing all that under the hood for us.
And
Just by
that's
doing
coming.
4-4. Just by doing 4-4.
404?
4-4.
Oh, form 4. Yeah, just with the form 4. And this authenticity token is from the strong params. Okay? But again, like don't try to go too deep in this. Like just understand this is what's going on here, okay? Like it created all that for us.
You can't actually use strong params with form tags. You can only use it with form form.
And also notice how we have the action users, the method post, right? So that means when I hit the submit button, it should trigger the action controller at this route, right? So it goes into the controller and it will hit that, right? So now, if should I show this to you right now? Okay, I'll show it to you right now.
Where did create user come from?
Create user?
On the button that you had?
Oh, this right here? So if I hover over this button, you mean right here, create user, right?
But we never gave that value.
We never gave it,
Automated
yes. So it's a default thing.
For f.submit.
Yeah, but if you look up the documentation, there's going to be a way that you can change that around.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so yeah, you can see how Rails does a lot for us, right? Now, about the strong params again, a little bit, and a little bit of bybug. So what I'm going to do is, remember, I told you, like, if I hit that submit button, it's going to hit now in our controller, the post controller action, right? So it's going to go here, right? So when I hit the submit from my view file, it's going to hit this create action, right? Everyone understanding this? Right. So that means, remember how you did binding.pry before like this? Now in Rails, you can do bybug.
Whoa, cool.
Yeah. And I'm going to show you.
You don't have to require anything?
Yeah, it's all like Rails magic. It's already there. So now let's create another. So faith create, and again it freezes because why? Bybug. So right there, do you see it?
Yeah.
Bybug. It stops right there, and right here, just immediately you can type up params. And now notice the params. Can everyone see this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, maybe I should just.
Controller permitted false.
I bet you, could you do PP params?
A what?
Pretty print params.
What is that?
I don't know, it's something I learned last night, but I don't know if it'll work in bybug. Can
So
we try it though?
so do I just type something here?
Yeah, so if you do PP, sorry, that sounds bad.
I know.
Space, params.
Oh, what is that?
So, it's supposed to print it out more pretty. I don't know how well it works.
Oh, pretty
But-
print.
Yeah, pretty print.
Oh, pretty
Instead
print.
of just printing out the params, it's
Okay.
like adding an extra.
Okay.
It works on objects, I think. I
Okay.
guess params is an object.
Yeah. So again, like notice how you see the authenticity token here?
Yes.
That's all sent from the params. It's from the view forms. And once it hits submit, that params hash contains not only the information about whatever we put in the input field, but also the authenticity token.
So
Okay.
that's generated when the form is loaded on the page.
When it's hit submit.
Okay.
Mhm. But here's another thing that I want to show you. So remember the strong params that I created and I called it user params? Let's see what happens when I do user params. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll probably like higher it up. Is that better?
Yes.
How does it know that we're talking about faith?
Because that's where we are in the method, right?
Yeah.
For bybug.
So remember here, in the form, I in the input field, I put in faith, right? So that's stashed into the params now, right? With this right here, this name is going to be our key, and the value is going to be whatever we typed in that field, right? And that's why we see it in the params. But in that params, unlike Sinatra, what we saw before, Rails has like all these other like authenticity tokens and everything. And then in there, now because it has authenticity token, we have to even do a strong params and say, hey, like permit these information to be passed in, at least. So that's why, and notice in our user params, we did params require, and this is what I wanted to show you. In here, it says, so let's start slow. Params, that whole hash that we just saw, that crazy hash, right? Is there a way I could? Oh, I can't. Okay, so params right here. This whole params, right? That's our params, right? So in this params, we said params.require user. So that means in this params, hey, I want to just require user. So it looks, oh, that pp params is confusing me.
You can run the params again and it'll.
Yeah, let me just run again. Right, so here, better. It says require user. So that means it's going to look at this key value right here. See that? Is everyone following this?
Yes.
So that's what we're saying. Hey, params, require just user. So that's why we're running this right here. Okay? So if I just run that in my server, or bybug,
I don't see where you're typing.
I know, I couldn't see it either. There it is. See that? I just did params require user, and now it just gets me the name faith, which was just part of that user hash, right?
But it says false.
Because we didn't run the permission. See, that's the thing. I didn't do .permit yet. Okay, so now let's see what happens when I do .permit. Okay? And now, I'm just going to run this code right here. So among that hash, so all we have is here is name Faith, right? So among that, just permit name. That's all it's saying. Everyone following this so far? See how the permission changed? So now we have permission to pass this along in the strong params into the controllers, and then we can use it. Okay?
And the reason why it was false is because we weren't calling it, so it's kind of like inactive, I guess. Or?
Yeah, we didn't call it the dot permit. That's all. So it says, hey, I got all these params that you told me to, but it doesn't give me any permission, so I can't do anything with it. Like, okay? But we'll see more on this.
Would we want to permit every attribute that we want to pull?
All the corresponding ones. And you'll see in my next Candy's example for that. Okay, I'm running out of time a little bit. Okay, now, another thing that I have to introduce to you is going to be now, what happened?
Nothing important.
Nothing important, okay. Now to edit HTML file, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy this whole thing from new. I'm gonna paste it in the edit file. And remember, the edit is also a form, so that's why I'm copying and pasting it here. But another thing that I'm gonna do is now,
I know.
have you seen this button too? No?
So it's create a button in HTML.
Yep. So again,
Why don't you just do @user?
oh, I can, but just to make sure that you guys get used to it. And then I gotta add a delete. So that's a delete method, right?
So
And
button 2 is a URL helper.
yeah, and I'll show you exactly what it looks like. So I could get rid of that, right? As Mason said. So let's see what we get here, okay? And then just to make sure, double check I'm not missing anything here. Perfect. Now I'm going to look at my view file now.
Is it because it's an ERB file that it knows that it's a path automatically?
It's, well, I would say rather it's Rails and all the URL, under the hood there's a built-in method, all these URL helpers. So yeah. All right, so we have users. If I go into Grant, and if I now do edit, right, that should be our route.
Delete student. Just kidding.
See that?
Oh, just add the button.
So this is what it did. It added that button. And again, we can see what that looks like. So it created a button class, a form with the button. And then also created this right here. See that? This is what it did on the HTML side. All good? Okay. Don't worry if like this is not all being shoved into your head because it shouldn't be. That's crazy. But just know that this exists and there's a way to do it, and now you know what to look for, right?
So right now, if we were to put an extra T in Grant, would it update his database?
I hope so, unless there's a bug.
Wow.
That's the proper spelling, right?
So it's on the edit button. On the edit.
The controller, right? Because that's what we're exactly doing in the controllers, right?
Yeah.
Because in the edit button, when we click on that button, here, I'll just put that over here now. Oof.
And so at this point, what is the strong params doing for us that like is effectively different on the website? Nothing just yet.
It doesn't, I don't think it's like a visible thing. It's mostly just making sure that you don't get clickjacked, which is where someone can inject data into your form. So it just like creates a way to validate that the form is being submitted from that page, or the data is being submitted from that page, as opposed to like someone injecting HTML.
I see.
So it's boring, basically. It's doing
And either way, we're getting information from the forums, right? So that's why there's like all these authenticity going on under the hood.
Yeah, the story that they had in the lab was like something that I never thought about.
Yeah.
Oh, the having a different tab open.
Yeah, I was like, I do that all the time. But no one's ever stolen anything.
Oh, you do?
It's empty.
It's because most people, yeah, it's because any good application will
Yeah.
have that
Yeah.
validation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any baking application would not allow.
Yeah.
They would force chocolate.
Yeah, so again, we're doing something very basic here, right?
Yeah.
You'll be learning about more security and later on and doing all these validations. Even the upcoming labs will gear towards that, okay? Okay, there are more stuff that I need to throw at you today, so let's move on.
Wonderful.
Yeah. All right, so again, like updating all this, like this is already there, so that's why we saw the grantee, like it was updated and it took us to, redirected us to that specific page, right? But again, let's see if I can even delete it.
No.
Oh.
You did. It did work.
Yeah, so no bugs, huh? Perfect.
I found
Okay, so the method, cool, so in that button, you're just calling the delete. Wait,
Yeah, so this is because of this line right here, right?
Does the redirect path have to follow your button, like the action?
Which line
When
specifically?
you add user,
Here?
that's the path, right? So does it have to follow immediately after the delete?
Okay, correct me if I'm understanding this right. So here, what this is all doing is saying, hey, button, there's a delete button that we created, and when a user clicks on that, and remember, there's always that method and that action going on, right? Here, we don't have to specifically type up the action, but we have to know what user it's talking about. Which user are we doing that on? Okay, and this specific user is that instance user that we found from here in our controller, which is this user in line 26. And then it's saying, and yeah, it's I think this was your question too. Like it's the same thing as doing that. It's that URL like right there.
And can I put this part after the method?
Yeah, I think you should be able to do that. The order really shouldn't matter, but definitely try it out. Okay, those things definitely try it out.
the method that it's referring to is the HTTP delete request?
Yes,
Request,
it's the
not
delete
actual
verb.
Destroy, okay.
Correct. So method is always that HTTP method, right? So now it's triggering that HTTP delete verb. So that's why it's triggering that, and it's going to our controller, and now it's going to look into the destroy action, right? It's the total opposite from the create. When we create submit and click that, it triggers a post method and takes us to the create action, right? Did I say that right?
I think so. I get it.
But I see some confusing faces. Any clarity needed here?
I don't understand how we did edit, update, destroy, all from the delete button.
We did.
We
Oh,
did
we
it.
did, there's two different forms.
Yeah.
Where's the other form?
It's under new.
Oh.
Right here.
So we basically just took that and like changed it for our edge page.
So here, remember I created four HTML ERB files. One of it is the new, and one of it is edit. The new one is the one that where we create. So that's the form just to purely create
So
a user.
create goes directly to new, and you don't have to explicitly say that.
Wait, so I would say that a little bit differently, right? So it's because of the new form.
Oh,
form.
new.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So when you hit submit here in the new form,
Mhm.
it fires action and method under the hood, right? The action would be create, the method would be a post, right? So that's why in our controller, it would hit the create controller right here, the action, and it's doing all the database, it's hitting the database, and then it's redirecting us to that new user, right? Now for the edit, let's look at the edit now. So the edit form has two things that we can do here. Well, number one, this edit is creating, because of this edit, now we have access to this user instance in our edit form view. Here, we can either submit and trigger the update button, which will hit the update controller, right, and do all this. Or we can just either go to the form, edit, and just click on the delete button, not the update button, but the delete button. And here we specifically told it to trigger the delete method. to the action destroy. And that's why it's triggered here. Does that make sense so far?
Kind of. I just don't understand where the update comes from.
The update is another action that's being triggered by the edit form here. When you click on the submit under the hood, it's the same as the new create. So when you're thinking about,
Does that fall automatically in the edit?
yeah, so we created it that way, right? And also the form for yes, under the hood is like triggering that. So again, when you think about the forms, always think about this. The new, the create, and then the edit. So this is all for show. And this is the actual like actions. Right? Well, this is an action too, but just like, you know what I mean right here, right?
Oh, you mean, I think view would be a better word, right? Instead of show, right?
Yeah, this is like the whole point of this is just to tell you like what the features is, and always think of it this way. Okay, but you can also do. So that's what's going on here. In this edit form, we're either clicking on the submit button will trigger this, or clicking on that manual button that we created, the delete button, to trigger that.
Which you have to add the method. That method.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think, so another clarification I have would be like, so when we're referring to a controller action, it would be action method. And if it's and when we say method, it's like the HTTP verb. So like when we say method there, method delete, that's an HTTP verb that we're calling a method.
Yes.
It's firing. Okay.
Yes, exactly. And check out the documentations too. Like I'm just like skipping and just showing you how to do this, like because I don't have time to like go over the documentations with you guys here. But definitely look at it, and you'll see like there's a way, like different ways to do this. Like you can just put in the URL, you can put it in a string version. Like there's always a different way, right? Is this all making sense so far, everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So did I skip anything? Show example on browser now. Okay, and I showed you that it was all editing. Do the same for candies. Okay, so now I have to jump into the candies, and I still have so much to show you. It's already 11:33. Can we do like just 15 more minutes? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Everyone okay?
We can push to like 12 because I'm not gonna do anything, until after lunch.
No, I don't want to hit 12.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so now, because we created the users, we can all just copy and paste everything and just kind of modify around for the candies now, okay? We're finally doing the candies. All right, so let's start. Just gonna delete all that. Let's start very fresh. Candies controller. And I'm going to copy this. Paste it over here. Bye-bye. Now, Condies. Condi.all. And please, I need pair programming here because I might make a mistake as I'm rushing through. Candy.
Is there a way to change every instance?
Oh, at once?
Yeah.
I'm just hesitant to do that right now because just in case I make a mistake.
Because of the multiple
Yeah.
plurals versus singulars.
Exactly. Bear with me.
The candy control should also be singular.
Thank you. Pair programming right there on spot. Candy. I'm assuming I'll do Candy's params, right? I'll change that for you too. No, I'll get rid of that for you. All right, and then Candy. Oh my gosh.
Just find exact and replace.
Do what?
You can just find the exact word with the X, even with the X sign, you can just replace everything.
Again, like I'm just worried that it might mess things up because sometimes it happens to me. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna do it tedious way. Again, I'm very slow. Because I lived longer than you.
Miracle after lunch.
Faith, I lived longer than you. That's why. That's the only reason. candies path. You guys are double checking, right?
Yes.
All right. And we'll start like playing around. Now let's create all the view files. Skeleton setup is almost done. Bear with me.
In the private method,
Where?
in the private method
Uh-huh.
for permit, don't you want not only the name?
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Good call. Index file. Show. Oh shoot. What's left? Edit. Okay. Whew. That was good. All right, now I'm gonna also copy and paste from the user. So let's start with index. Copy, paste, you're out. I'm gonna change this to all candies. All right, so let's change that to candies. Candy. 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 Cool. All right, so here I'd like to show you something. I remember, yeah, there it is. So candy. So now here I'm also gonna do this. Owner. It sounded like you're super happy to find my error.
No, I thought it was a 0, not an M, but I realized you were right.
And tell me if you have like any concerns here. If like something's like confusing, what I did.
Oh, cool.
Does that make sense, everyone?
Yeah.
So you know that Candy has a user, right? Because we have an association, right? So that's why, and then after getting that user, I could get that name, right? So now I know which Candy has which owner, right? I think that's about it. So let's double check if that works. So now if I go to candies, and that should be because I have no candies.
You have to make a new.
Do I have no candies at all?
Yes.
I thought I had Snickers.
Yeah, it just came out.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Ah, beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
you can even leave back that way if you
Does
want.
that mean you have Snickers for everyone?
Yeah, you own Snickers now.
I'll ask Juliana. Alright, yeah, we can start linking to all these associations, and we'll do that like after we're done with all the skeletons first. Now, show. I'm gonna do the same thing. Do that. Candy. Right? Is that all? I'm gonna do the same thing here. Okay. Let's do that. Let's do this. What is going on, class? Candy. Okay, am I missing anything here, everyone? I think that should do the trick, right?
Yeah.
So now if I go back, if I click on the Snickers, oh,
Uh-oh.
Oh.
We forgot closing.
the squid.
We failed you, I'm sorry.
I know. Ah, there we go. Perfect. All right, so we're almost done. Now the show file. What am I doing here? Oh, okay. So let's kind of link things together. What am I doing here? Okay. So what? Okay, so here now what I want to do is now I want to show the users for that candies, or actually the opposite. I want to show all the candies list for that specific user, and this is something that you'll be doing in your projects very often. So now I'm gonna go to my users show. Okay. So on the left here is my users show. Here it's my candies. Okay. So what I want to do is create a UL. And then I also want to do this. And remember, has many candies, right? User has many candies. Therefore, I can do that, right? Candy. Perfect. Ella, yeah, it's all muscle memory now. Perfect. Yeah, I'm just gonna run into it because you all know like what this all means now, right? So now let's double check what we see. So that means if I go to users, click on Edwin, I see my Snickers.
Wow.
So cool.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So it's we have like 10 minutes left, so I'm gonna really like run fast.
Push through.
Yeah, push through. But do jump in and say if I don't understand what the heck you're doing there, and then I'll stop. Let's see. Now in that was my show. Now HTML. So I want to copy another user HTML.
For candy.
Yeah. Right?
Yes. And then we have a name, right? Or type.
Yeah.
What is it?
Candy. So let's do this. This is going to be a little bit confusing. Candy name, because I want to specifically know if it's a username or a candy name, right? And then we could basically do the same thing. Candy type. Oh shoot. Probably candy type. Okay, I think that should do it. All right, and then if I just go to new, nice. So I can now create a Kit Kat and chocolate. Create candy.
Oh!
Ah, see? So that's what Mason was talking about.
Oh yeah.
See how I'm just permitting the name here in the strong params? Remember that?
Yeah.
It's saying that we don't have the chocolate type, first of all. And then I think it says param is missing or the value is empty in candies. So let's double check what that means. So, where?
On your controller.
Okay, sorry.
For the candy controller.
Canvas params.
Oh yeah.
Should be candy? Okay. How do you confirm that?
We asked me.
Rails wrap.
We could do by bug, right?
Oh yeah, by bug.
Yeah. So I'm lazy, so I'll just by bug here. So notice how I'm doing this in this method too? Like if it's a method, I could by bug anywhere. So that's why so-
Why is that lazy?
Oh no, because I would like specifically say, hey, let's go to create, because we know it's a new form, and then we would do by bug here. But I just want, the whole point of this was saying lazy, but also showing you that you can do this here
Okay.
in any method. So let's do it there, okay? So I'm going to run it again. So Kit Kat, chocolate, create candy, should hit the by bug.
And does Rails automatically save the search for you too?
What search?
Like all your past searches?
Oh, you mean on the browser? No, that's not Rails. It's just a thing on the browser, really. Yeah. So here I'm on the server. Everyone sees this, right?
Yes.
So my params, there it is, and if I run, yeah, you were right. It was candy. See, it wasn't candies. That's why it wasn't recognizing candies. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. So good call, May. Now,
Can we remove that by bug? So it doesn't-
yeah, thank you. Good call. right.
And so don't we have to add
The params. Well, let's just start it. If let's just see if this works.
okay.
It's not gonna let me chop
It did go through. Did it? We don't see KitKat.
Now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So again, another way we could confirm that is that in the database we don't see KitKat.
Wow.
So where did it go?
Where did it go?
Nowhere.
Yeah, that's right. It went nowhere. But what happened there?
Because of the permit, we didn't permit that information to go through. So since it didn't go through, it didn't get created.
So you're saying I should have
Chop overlaid.
candy type?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And if this works, let's see. See if it works.
What?
Wow.
Select the owner.
Huh?
Select the owner.
Yeah. See that?
Oh my god.
Did you hear that?
Associations on forms.
Yep. So we're missing that. So that means I would have to now in my, remember how in Sinatra I said, first of all, let's even forget about the fancy stuff, but let's just have an input field. And we'll say user. And I'll do something like that, I think so, yeah. Okay, and
didn't associate it.
all right. So here we have this. So now if I go back to my browser, now we have that user. So let's do KitKat. Oh, Butterfinger, okay. I'm gonna give Edwin Butterfinger. Create. What happened?
Because we did not permit it.
Yeah.
Oh, the user.
Exactly. Right? So this is why it's super important to know, like you can debug the strong params and just the regular params. All right, so now let's do it again.
Since it works.
Hey,
Wow.
and the database?
Wow.
Does this make sense so far?
Yes.
All right, so remember, don't forget what attributes you have, okay? All right, now, we're not done, sorry. Now, this is ugly, right?
What?
Having this input, like right here, that's super ugly. So, yeah, so we want that select thing, that select option thing, remember that? Right?
Yes.
So this is the thing that I have to introduce to you because it's kind of important for you to work on later, future stuff. And the whole point was to look into the documentation and being able to search it and reading through it, but I will skip that for now, for the sake of it, okay? Because I do have collection select up here. Oh, another important thing to recognize is that, notice how you see, so this is like the API documentation that you would look into for Rails, but notice how there's all these versions. Make sure you know what version you're running on. So here, what version am I?
6.0.
Yeah, so that means I don't want to do 2.0. I want to look into 6.0 at least, the most updated. Because sometimes this will be an issue for you. Because everything is just constantly changing, you might bump into an issue looking into old documentation, old versions, and then you're implementing it in your new version, but it doesn't work, okay? So make sure you double check on that. So now I'm confident, and here's a collection select, and all that explanation is here. And I usually just run through the example like almost right away, and then kind of follow along with the description here, like, oh, okay, so I think I understand what's going on here. So almost similar as mine. And then there's this post and author ID is creating all this, cool. And then what does this all exactly do? And then I could like follow along. Value method does this and that, okay? But for now, let's just move on and just immediately do the collection select. So I'll just show you right away. let's see. Did I not write this down? Great. Yeah, I didn't write it down, but let's try it now here. So I think instead of that, we now do collection select, right? Because that's where we want to have the drop-down menu. And if I, okay, now we have to look at the documentation. Perfect. So notice how it has object and method, right? And then if I'm looking here, it says post and author ID. So I can skip post, and the reason for that is because doing that whole iteration here and then passing this form4 has this candy object, by default this whole environment, this scope knows that it's going to be referring to that object specifically, to that candy. So I'm going to skip the first parameter that says post here, okay? Then I'm going to say this is all going to be the options. So if you look into here, it says this author ID, and this should look really familiar with what we went through Sinatra, right? Like author ID is going to be what we're looking into. So in our case, post author ID, in our case it should be user ID, perfect. And then here it says author.all, right? So that those are like all the options that we have to iterate through. So we have to look into all the, in our case, we have to look into all the users, right? So I could do user.all, but remember I said I don't like that sometimes? Well, this really depends on you, but I could also do,
The index?
yeah, well in the new, right? Because that's the scope we're in. So I could do users.all, and then I'll just change that to all the users. Does that make sense, everyone, so far?
Yes.
And this might break, like I have to make sure that we're doing this right. And now it says it has all these other stuff. So like ID, and it says this ID refers to this value here. Okay. So from here on, these are all referring to the options that we have. So here, these two refers to the select tag that we see here, the select tag here. And after this, all the options that we have to iterate through, we provide that. And then from there on, it should refer to all the options here. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
So now, and again, you shouldn't be like able to memorize this, right? Just play along with it, but just to have a slight understanding of what's going on. So that means I will be going over in my users, my ID, and then it says name with initial. So that means it's this right here. It wants to print out what our options are. Like we don't want just the numbers, we want the actual names, right?
So it'd be name.
Exactly, because user has name, right? So here.
You also missed a comma after users.
Okay, I'll get back to that. So, users, that's all our users. And then ID is going to be that specific user iteration instances ID, and that name is going to be that name for all the users, like each user. Okay. Yeah, you said I missed a comma right here?
After, yeah.
Okay. Now I really hope this works. Yes!
Woo!
Look at that.
That's
Beautiful.
so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I'm going to add just one more user. Okay. Adrian.
Oh, this sucks.
The lead user. Just kidding.
And then going back to my candies, new. So I see Adrian there.
Whoa.
Perfect. Nice. All right. So that's our collection select. That's something that's kind of important to play around, and you will be provided with labs. So here now I can finally, like, really create a Butterfinger jelly beans. Jelly. And let's give it to Adrian. Nice. So that's that. Now, remember how I said Form 4, you will no longer be using that? From after 5.0, Rails version 5.0, all Form 4 and Form Tag is deprecated. You'll be using Form With. And there's a stack, I found a Stack Overflow about that. Here. Oh, shit. See that?
Oh, so the only thing that's different
Yeah, so before form tag was only doing like the pure HTML, while form 4 was playing around with the models when there is a model. And then now there's like two methods that does something very similar, slightly different. Everyone got so confused. And finally there's this whole PR request, you'll see, like I'll provide that too, it's pretty interesting. Like they write, hey, this is ridiculous, like we gotta fix this. And then like someone just like made a pull request and finally said, okay, that's done, we're going to do form width. And they just like finally decided to do form width. And no longer we're going to use this confusing thing. When we're creating forms, we're just going to be using form width. And there's a way to purely just do URL, HTML, or just playing around with the models. Okay, so that's like the short story of it.
So as developers, if we ever get fed up of how like something's done, we can always just make a pull request.
Oh, but FYI, that forms width was created by someone who was working on Rails. Like he has that, he's that person who's like in charge of changing stuff. So, but you can suggest it to make a PR request if you want. Yeah.
Just be like,
Yeah, that'll be genius. Now,
Just start changing methods on Rails.
yeah. So here, all I do really, and look at the documentation again, but all I do here really is just that form width. I believe so. Yeah, so there's two more things I'm just going to throw at you, but this is kind of cool. This is something that's cool, okay? Sorry, Grant. All right. I know that's a lot, but... Ooh, I'm sorry.
It's lunchtime.
Candies.
Not yet. 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Oh, I didn't create the edit. Ah, shoot. Okay. Should I create it?
yes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Do it.
I'm happy you guys are so excited about this. All right.
My life.
Candies. Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't have to create that. But where's the Candies new? Why isn't it running? Oh, is there a buy bug?
Server running?
No, there's no buy bug.
What's going on?
What is
You
your server?
changed it, maybe it doesn't work.
Do you have a server running right now?
Let's run it again. I did have it running, but
Oh no.
Oh yeah, we changed it to form width.
oh shoot. Okay, so is that not how I should be doing it? I thought that was, and I left that out too. Oh my gosh. Ah. All the perfectionism is gone. All right, form width. So I think Vanessa shared that to you too. Oh, so here, look, I'm missing this right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, model. So that should do the trick. There we go.
It's
Jelly.
exactly the same, but with width.
Yeah. All right, so that means if I go to users now,
It is magic. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
there we go. So I have 3 now, right?
Ooh. How
So-
many candies does Adrian have? Take it away.
Where's Adrian? Jelly beans.
Oh, because we didn't create.
Yeah, we did it. Yeah,
Grant.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Sorry,
Sad face.
sucker.
yeah. Hey, so
Grant was 2.
here, this is what I wanted to show you too. So now Edwin is right there. I'm in the edit for the Edwin, and I'm going to delete this. Okay.
Oh.
Remember this error message.
You already have 3 candies for Edwin, so you can't get rid of Edwin without.
Does that make sense?
Candy.
Very good answer.
So in that destroy, for not to get this error, then you could just have to destroy those candies first.
Yeah, so we can like destroy everything and do that manually in controller, but there's another cool thing that you can do. And this is right, should be in find candy.
Is this constraint defined in the schema or it just automatically knows that?
It's because of the database, the schema. So like the associations that you create, it has many belongs to. That association is all hooked up with the models and database, right? So that means, as Grant said, the foreign keys are there, and we're saying, hey, just delete the user, but we can't because it's associated with the other table, right?
Yeah, but I also see there's some setting in the schema file.
Here, you mean?
Enforce in the schema.
Oh, in the schema file.
Yeah. Yeah, like all the validation and. So we don't have to put in like false cascade, null, false, all those validation.
Wait, so hold that thought. Again, that's validations. We're not going to do validations here, okay? But you can do that. You would have to later on. You would have to add validations to your models and even in your controllers and probably even in your views, okay? But go through the validations labs for that. But the only thing that I wanted to show you is going back to our models, what you can do, and I have to look into the user model because that's what we were working on, right? So this is a user model, and what I do is notice this.
Yeah, this is what I'm.
Oh, okay, that's what you're saying? Oh, okay.
So we don't have to specifically specify here, just we have that.
Just destroy, yeah. That's all you need. And then what this does is says, it will just destroy all even the associations there, yeah. So now, so let's go back, edit. So I'm gonna delete it now. Perfect, Edwin's gone.
There's only one left.
So what happens to all those candies?
Oh, the candies are still in the table. It's just that the associations are like all gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can we go look at your Snickers real quick? I just want to see if it. Oh, so the candies are also deleted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, the candies? Oh, the candies are gone. Cool. Yeah, they're all destroyed. But then there should be a way to prevent that too. Yeah. I wasn't aware of that, but there should be definitely a way to prevent that. Yeah. That's a huge bug. Right. All right. One last thing, seriously, but this is gonna be like 1 minute.
Okay.
Bear with me. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna do a lecture again. So let's. Where should I do this?
Did you hear they're releasing Word 7 tomorrow? Just kidding. I was like, what? So none of this is relevant anymore.
Yeah, so this is something pretty cool. Like, you don't have to do this, but I just wanted to show you that this is possible. So remember, we're developers and we don't want to repeat ourselves, right? And you notice that we have all these like repeated everywhere. Like we have this everywhere, right? So what we can do is just create a private method that creates, like let's say, find candy by ID. And I'll just get this. Oh, I didn't copy it. I could do that.
And then just call find.
Oh, no, even better. So you have access to this now. Did you go through this?
No.
Okay, so you will, but find candy by ID. And I can also just tell it exactly what it should be corresponding to. And notice I have that. Tell me where I have that, in which actions.
Show.
Show. Where else?
Create.
Create. I have one in create? No.
Never mind. Shit. Edit.
Edit?
Edit, update, and destroy.
Edit. Just kidding. And destroy, you said, right? I can do that. And what that tells me, what this is saying before any of the controllers are running, before action, literally, before any of that action, it's going to get that find candy by ID. It's going to run. So that means we already have access to the instance variable before that action method runs. Meaning I could, in the show, I don't need this anymore. In the
No.
edit, I don't need this anymore. See how my edit action doesn't even have anything now?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to erase this just because I'm going to upload this. I'm just going to comment it out. And then I could also do this. And voila.
You have to write find candy by ID and update and destroy it?
I don't have to write it anywhere, because I said it's gonna. This is all for only these methods here.
Okay, got it.
And let's see if it all properly works. I should be not breaking to anything. Candies, clicking on one of the candies takes me to the candies. Yeah. New. Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for bearing with me on
That was
that.
awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that